I haven't been this angry over something this trivial in a long time. It's so banal, in fact, that I actually feel somewhat embarrassed that I even feel angry over this because of how comically irrelevant it is. But here we are. I want to preface this by saying that I do not hate this game. It's a fun game, and it's a step up from the first game in almost every way. I still wouldn't say that the changes warrant a $60 price tag, but I digress. This isn't about that. This is purely about the graphics of this game. And believe it or not, on this front, the game has clearly been downgraded from the first game. Now let me explain. So before the game came out, I saw a lot of gameplay videos, and something just looked odd to me. I couldn't put my finger on what it was exactly, but it looked as though some effects were missing from the game. But, I chalked it up to the game being unfinished, being in its early stages, and I was like, I mean, it's probably just me, this probably isn't actually, these effects aren't actually missing, it's just something is weird, maybe this is like PS4 gameplay or something. But then the game actually came out on PC, and my friend got it, I got it, and the first thing we both noticed was that something was definitely different, and not in a good way. So when my friend got the game, he thought at first that his graphics settings were set to low. He was like, my graphics are probably on low settings, but no, they were actually maxed out. And on max graphics, the game looked somewhat odd. And I had the exact same feeling. I felt as though my game was on low settings, but that wasn't actually the case. And then we actually started to notice certain things. Like I said, I already noticed some of these things while watching YouTube videos, but I was like, probably early footage, like early development, maybe PS4 gameplay or something, but no. This was undeniably a problem on PC as well, and we started noticing these changes, and we started recording them. And no doubt, this game has been graphically downgraded a lot. Now, I have insane OCD when it comes to certain things. You guys know that I make DMC combos, and I have a tendency to, redo the same combo 80 billion times because something about the camera angle bothered me, or something, something that nobody else notices but me. These things tend to bother me. But that's because I rewatch my combos 80 billion times, and every time I see this thing that bothers me. So it gets to a point where I just have to redo the combo because of these minuscule details that nobody even pays attention to. And I'm not alone on this, by the way. A lot of advanced DMC players are like this. I know because I speak to them almost every day. And if there's a video, like an Ultimate Jutsu, I'll rewatch it 10,000 times. I've lost count of how many times I've rewatched the last Sasuke's Chidori Planet Splitter Ultimate. And I also appreciate level design in video games a lot. I just love stages, especially in fighting games. And sometimes I'll just go into practice mode to admire the background art and how cozy certain stages feel. And one of my hobbies is Sakuga, just browsing Sakugaboru, appreciating animation, and I really love analyzing things. I analyze my combos in great detail, I pause every video frame by frame because it's just fun to me. I like seeing what goes on in slow motion and what makes a video enjoyable to watch. And I understand that not a lot of people do this, and not a lot of people pay attention to detail. I am acutely aware that what I'm about to discuss in this video is not important to the majority of people who play this game. Most people either won't notice these issues or they simply won't be bothered by them, and that's a fact. So after my friend and I noticed that the graphics in this game were worse, another friend of mine said the same, and he urged me to make a Reddit post so that we could simply, get to the bottom of this whole thing. So I went on Reddit. forward horror story. You guys know that Reddit is infamous for being this echo chamber full of idiots, and I rarely ever use it. But I was like, alright, you know what? Let's see if anybody else noticed these changes. I wanted to see what people thought about this whole thing. So, I very politely as I could, I simply said that I'm not hating on the game, that I realize that this is very trivial stuff, that most people won't notice or care, and yet, despite how polite I try to be about this whole thing, my post was met with such vitriol that I don't even know what to say. I'm not gonna lie, I got ratioed. I got dogpiled. No matter how subtle you are in your delivery, it's never gonna be enough for Redditors, bro. It's like I insulted their families or something. They all just dogpile me. All because I pointed out that the graphics in this game have changed for the worse. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. So this is my post. I said, I want to preface this by saying that most people probably haven't noticed and won't care about what I'm about to say in the slightest because I have insane OCD when it comes to small details, and somehow I always notice the smallest things, and it always bothers me a lot. So you can read the post if you want, you can pause the video. I essentially said how even before the game came out, I noticed some oddities, and then I got the game on PC, and we kind of, and then I said, maybe this is because the game dropped on the PS4, and now it's 60 FPS, and I didn't really say anything hateful. I literally just provided some examples. And as you can see, not gonna lie, y'all will complain about anything. It's not even that noticeable. I mean, the trade-off is, fair. I'll take this drop in whatever, basically saying how the fact that the game is 60 FPS now, that justifies everything. And there's another guy who said, I agree, the second game is way better optimized than the first one. In the first game, I had to drop the graphics to medium to keep stable 30 to 60, but in the second game, I have everything maxed out, stable 60. Please remember this one. Please remember this comment. We will talk about it by the end of the video. This guy goes, oh no, a black border around some attacks. Whatever will we do? And then I said, bro, it's not just the black borders. And I said how everything, including the effects, textures, stages, it all looks washed out. I got downvoted, basically, like, 4. And somebody said, as somebody with OCD myself, you're really grasping here. And get this. This guy said, I understand that, but I also know the graphics didn't downgrade. It just doesn't suit your preference. I want you to ingrain and engrave this into your memory as we go forward with the video. This comment that says, this is not a downgrade, I know it's not a downgrade, it's just your personal preference. Please bear this in mind. Please. And, of course, you got this guy who said, literally nobody agrees with you, and you're still tweaking out about the smallest shit. The model changes are great. What do you mean? Dude, in the exact example you gave, that proves that the graphics are better. Like, look at how much detail this is. And this guy says, every example that you gave, including the link, shows a graphical update improvement in both fidelity and art style. I'm not even talking about the huge 60 FPS difference. Simply put, 2 is better. Okay. Keep all of this in mind, because this is basically, these responses were the reason for me making this video. You could say that I'm salty, and I mean I am, but I just want to prove this. This glazing needs to stop. This is just, you're not allowed to say anything negative about anything, or you'll be branded a hater. I absolutely hate this. So, okay, sure, let's go with that. Maybe the examples I provided weren't convincing enough. Which is exactly why we're gonna go in depth, analyze every nook and cranny, leave no stones unturned, and after this video, I promise you, there is no way you will be able to say that the second game looks better than the first game. My sole motivator for making this video is my pure, unfiltered, unadulterated rage. I am so eager to talk about this. I summoned all of my willpower just to make this video, knowing damn well it will either get no views or just hate. And I already know I'll get comments out the wazoo telling me to touch grass and, get good or something, but I really couldn't care less. Again, I want you to treat this as a purely educational video. Forget everything you know about this game, disregard everything about the gameplay, and treat this as a graphical showcase or comparison, because that is exactly what this whole video is. Because like I said, this doesn't affect the gameplay in any way. I just want you to acknowledge that these changes are present, and that they are objectively, undeniably worse, and that this isn't a matter of preference, it's just a straight-up downgrade. I'm not saying this is important, I'm not saying it ruins anything, all I'm saying is that it is there and it's worse. That is all. So let's start with the stages. Now, before I start analyzing and comparing these stages, I feel the need to emphasize and clarify that naturally, it goes without saying that both of these games are on max settings 1080p. That's all you need to know. Alright, so let's start with one of the worst offenders, which in my opinion is the Mugen Train stage. So, as you can see, in the first game, you can see these blades of grass. There's a lot of grass. The textures are pretty crisp. It's nothing to write home about, though. It looks normal, it looks nice, right? Now let's see the second game. And yeah, the first thing you'll notice is that there's way less grass. Like here, you can see a lot of grass, and here it just got removed. Secondly, you can see how the textures in the first game are very crisp, as opposed to the second game where it's all just a blur. It is a literal blur, no grass, nothing, and it's not just that. You can see in the background, in the first game here, you can see these rocks, you can see these bushes, and in the second game, this got removed. As you can see right here, like this, like see here and here, these rocks got removed. The vegetation got removed. Like look at how many bushes you've got here and here, like in the first game. In the second game, you've got just blur, just more blur. It's really, they just removed the vegetation, right? Alright, moving on. So, in the first game, you can clearly see how this train has a lot of detail on it. Like the wagons, they're very detailed. And now let's look at the second game. Yeah, so first of all, the roof, like the top of this wagon, it's got nothing on it. In the first game, you can clearly see, like, you've got these, whatever the fuck they're called. Then we got the back, the bottom, like, of the wagon, like the wheels and all. Here in the first game, you can see all of this stuff. The second game, it's just, look at it. Look at this. Not to mention, like, this wagon right here in the first game looks great. Second game, no reflection. Like, there's no reflection. Like, here, you can see the moon illuminating it, and here, there's just nothing. Nothing. And it's not just that. It's the textures as well. In the second game, you can see these low-resolution textures for all vegetation, like trees, bushes. They use these low-res textures, as you can see here. In the first game, that's not the case, and I know some of you may think that maybe this is low-res, but believe me, it is not. This is low-res, and we'll talk about that later, right? Believe me, we will talk about this. Moving on. So, again, first game, you can see a lot of detail. Second game, like, bro, really? Like, first game? Second game. This is just like this. It's gone. It's just gone. The windows, first game, second game, it is all gone. All these textures, look at the wires in the first game, everything connecting the train, it's all been removed. All of it. It's just been it's gone. It's just gone. Even the textures are worse, but we'll talk about that later. Moving on. Again, first game, second game. I mean, really, need I say more? Like, the first game, you see all of this. Second game, you don't see anything. It's just really less detail. And, again, here as well, you can see here how, in the first game, you got these bushes, right? And in the second game, they just removed this part. See? Like this, right here? They just removed it. Just completely removed it. And not to mention, of course, the blur. Like, you can see the ground in the first game, ground in the second game. It's just all around worse. Moving on. Again, here, you can see the same thing. The vegetation, way worse in the second game. In the first game, you've got way richer vegetation in general, as opposed to this game where they use these 1D horrible textures for vegetation. And yeah, same thing, less grass, less everything, and everything in the second game has been replaced by these low-res textures. Not to mention, less vegetation. In the first game, you got all this grass, all these bushes. Second game, all of it has been removed and replaced with blur. Like, you got this blur, this blurry mess. So, yeah, moving on. Again, same thing, the vegetation, the train wagon, like, all of this, it's just way worse. This tree is a literal blur. It looks like a stain in the second game. In the first game, it's pretty good. Again, grass, like, what more can I say? First game, second game. Just the ground itself, like, everything in the second game is just blur, bro. It is all blur. That's all you see. Whereas in the first game, it's crisp, it's nice, and I don't know. Okay, moving on. Again, same stage. Look at, again, like in the first game, you see all this grass, all this vegetation. The second game, again, removed. And the tree here, replaced, like this is the first game, and this is the second game. Replaced with low-resolution textures, 1D stuff. Even the texture of the tree in the first game, you can see how it's very crisp, and the second game, it's just a blurry mess. 1080p, both games, max textures, max settings on both games, right? So yeah, bro, like here you can see this bush like in the background, and here it's just gone. You can see the whole rock. So yeah, man. Holy shit, they even removed this. Like the first game, you see this little tree here, it's gone. In the second game, it's just gone. Moving on, same thing. Again, first game has this bush, second game removed it. Even the texture, like in the first game, this rock looks very good. Second game, it's just like a blurry mess. Again, first game, nice little tree, and here it's like 1D textures, like really, really low, like low-res stuff everywhere, just all across the board here. So, yeah, moving on, we've already seen this. Okay, now this is the first game, right? This second game, you can see, again, like, you can see the grass here, a lot of grass, and here it's just gone. And you see this blur everywhere. Of course, the tree, the resolution is better here in the first game compared to the second game. Even the rocks are more detailed in the first game compared to the second game. But now we got the worst thing in this stage. So this is the first game. You can see these, like, crops, these, like, fields in the background. And now look at the second game. Bro, you have random rectangles and lines. This looks like missing textures. At first, I thought it was a view distance issue, and it is, but even if you close in, it doesn't get better. So it's not that they remove details if you're far away. No, as close as you are, it's going to be the same, right? They removed everything from the background. They replaced it with a blur of nothingness. Whereas in the second game, you can see the grass, you can see the trees behind it, you can see everything. Here, it's just gone. It is gone. Look, you can't even see anything. Anything at all. And again, of course, needless to say, you know, first game, second game, low-res textures. Like, look at this. The tree and the crown in the first game looks pretty nice here in the upper left corner. Second game, 1D. This is like a flat surface. These are the lowest resolution textures you can find. Again, I'll show you the difference. This is the first game. This is the second game. So this is the first. This is the second, right? First, second. First, second. First, second. But then I had this really bright idea. How about we set everything to the lowest possible settings on Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1, and then compare that to the max settings on Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2. So we're going to turn everything off, or set everything to the lowest possible settings in the first game, and compare that to the second game. So as you can see, this is like max settings. First game, max settings. This is the first game on the lowest possible settings. Now, of course, you can see, like, on max settings, the textures are crisper. Here, they're blurry. They're pretty blurry. The anti-aliasing is horrible. You know, this is this is like max settings. This is like the lowest settings. It's like pixelated. The vegetation looks pixelated. And, yeah, but Now let's look at the second game on max settings. Bro, like, the anti-aliasing is maybe only... It's almost the same, honestly. It's a little better. It's not nearly as pixelated, but it's also not as good as the first game. But no grass, and the textures look like, bro, max settings first game, lowest settings first game, max settings second game. The blur is worse. At least in the first game, you still have grass. Even on the lowest possible settings, you have vegetation. Here, you have nothing. Nothing. It's not only are the textures literally blurrier on max settings in the second game compared to the lowest possible settings in the first game, but you also have less grass, or you just removed vegetation altogether. As you can see, like, this is the first game, this is the second game. Like, come on, bro, what are we doing here? This basically means that Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1, on the lowest possible settings with everything set to low or turned off, looks better than Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on max settings. Bro! And this is possibly worse than the previous stage. So I loved the Butterfly Mansion. It was one of my favorite stages. And this is what it looks like in the first game. Very cozy. It's just a very cozy stage with a lot of detail. The first thing you'll notice when you look at the second game is how washed out it is. Let me show you. Alright, so again, first game, second game. First game, second game. Let's look at this example. Again, first game, second game. First game, second game. Like, I'm not even making this up. Like, look, like, and maybe you're not able to see it immediately, but worry not, we're going to look at all the close-ups. So, as you can see here, this is the first game. A lot of grass, great ground, great textures, great everything across the board. Let's look at the second game. Yeah, so the first thing you'll notice, again, is all this, like, this blurry mess on the ground. Compared to the first game had a lot of grass. Second game has no grass. I mean, it has a few blades of grass here, but, you know, you can already see that this is way, way less detailed. Like, this blur is insane, and this applies to every stage. You can see here in the first game how nice this looks. Like, everything is so clear, and then you see this game, and it's like nothing. It's literally nothing. Like, no, like, here you have grass, here you have no grass, but whatever. Moving on. Here you'll see how the interior of the Butterfly Mansion has a lot of shadows, right? It's supposed to be that way. The interior is supposed to be dark. But in the second game, you see no shadows at all. None at all. Like, they just removed the shadows. It looks so goofy. And then you see the grass in the first game, and then you see just green, like a green blur in the second game. Moving on, even here, like, this is the first game, this is the second game. You can see the shadows on the balcony. They're way better in the first game. Here, it's just completely just destroyed. Like, here, you can see everything. Here, it's like setting the shadows on the lowest possible settings, right? Moving on, again, first game, great vegetation. Amazing, it just looks really good. And now you got the second game. The second game has PS1 textures. And of course, no need to say this, but the tree in the first game, great. Like, crisp trees. Second game, it's just a blur. But that's not all. Like, look at this. Like, the shadows here. Like, the second game and the first game, you see the shadows here. Like, there's a shade. You're supposed to have this shade here. But in the second game, it's just been removed. You know, because less shadows, less things to render, right? That's not all, though. Again, first game, great trees, great vegetation. Here, it's just, like, low-res stuff, right? And, yeah, it's just, like, really, really funny how washed out this game looks. Even in terms of, like, even the colors look so washed out. Moving on, first game, look at this, all right? Look at this window right here. You can see the inside of this window. You can see another window here, or I don't know if it's a picture frame or something, but you can see the shadows. You can see this window. Second game, nothing. Removed. Completely removed. They just removed everything. Removed the shade. Removed... Look at this. Like, first game, you see the shade here. You see the shadows. This area is darker, as it's supposed to be. Nope, removed it. Just removed it in the first game, in the second game. It's insane to me how they did this. And yeah, of course, the grass, all of it's been removed. Incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible stuff. Again, first game, second game. No need to say anything here. Like, we've already been over this. Again, first game, second game. Bro, the first game, look at how warm the colors are. But in the second game, it's so washed out. Not only did they remove all this grass and all these details off the ground and made it into a blur, but they also washed out the colors. It's absolutely insane how they did this. Like, I don't even know what to say. First game, second game. Like, the textures here on the rooftop are way better in the first game, right? Moving on, even this, I don't even know what this is, like a lamp in the first game, looks very nice. Second game, it's just this, like, washed out mess. Again, first game, great vegetation. Second game, low-res textures everywhere, like, everywhere. Moving on, first game, second game. Now, again, this is mostly the vegetation, but I want to show you something else. Look at this. Like, this ball, you can see the rope around it in the first game. Second game, like, bro. And now this, bro. Look at this. In the first game, you can see this house here, right? But in the second game, they removed the fucking house. They straight up removed it, bro. And not only that, but see the shadow on the tree in the first game? Yeah, it's gone now. Or, well, maybe it's there, but you can barely see it. Again, low-resolution textures everywhere. Like, this is the first game, this is the second game. Absolutely insane. Like, why did they remove this house? Like, what? I really don't know what to say. Oh, they also removed this bush. In the first game, it's here. In the second game, it's just gone. Right? But hey, guys, remember, personal preference, right? Personal preference. Again, this is the first game, this is the second game. Needless to say, removed this bush, removed everything, the grass, all of it's been removed. This, we've already seen this, like, the grass, it's just ass, and yeah, that's mostly it, but that's not the worst thing. See, another thing they did with this stage is they made it so that in the first game, like, you had a lot of butterflies flying around the stage, right? That was the whole point. But I think that in the second game, you have fewer butterflies on the stage. I don't know if they did this to decrease detail and have less things to render, but that is my theory. In the first game, you can see a lot more butterflies, but in the second game, they're just not there, right? You can see the same thing here. So, max settings first game, lowest settings first game. Of course, you're gonna notice that, you know, when you have max settings, the trees are way better, the vegetation is way better. But when you set the settings to, like, low, it's just pixels because no anti-aliasing, basically. And, of course, the textures are, you know, more sharper on max settings as opposed to the lowest possible settings. But now let's look at Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on max settings. Bro, this is like first game lowest settings, second game max settings. Bro, all this grass, even on the lowest possible settings, you have a lot of grass. All of it has been removed. All of it. Every single thing. And even the textures on the lowest possible settings, sure, they're blurrier than when they're on the max settings, but then you see the second game on max settings, and it's even blurrier than the first game on the lowest possible settings. Bro, and don't get me started on the shadows. Like, these are the lowest settings, and the shadow of this tree is better than the second game. I'm not even gonna say anything. The only thing well, actually, yeah, like, overall, it just looks worse. Demon Slayer 2 on max settings looks worse than Demon Slayer 1 on the lowest possible settings. How the fuck is this acceptable? But then I thought to myself, if Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1 on the lowest possible settings looks significantly better than Demon Slayer 2 on max settings, then just how bad does Demon Slayer 2 look like on the lowest possible settings? So let's check that out. So again, this is Demon Slayer 1 max settings. This is Demon Slayer 1 lowest settings. Max, lowest, max, lowest. So let's look at some close-ups. So this is Demon Slayer 1 on max settings. Pretty good. This is Demon Slayer 1 on the lowest settings. And again, it's just the anti-aliasing. You can see how everything is pixelated on the lowest possible settings, as opposed to, like, max settings. But really, that's kind of like all I see. Like, it's just the anti-aliasing. It's just, that's kind of like all I see here, compared to, like, max and lowest settings. But now let's look at Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on max settings. Bruh. And now we got Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on the lowest settings. And again, the main thing I notice is on max settings, the anti-aliasing is better than, well, lowest settings, where it's like pixel galore. And this texture of the house, of the shed, or whatever it is. So on max settings, it's better. On the lowest settings, it's an actual, it's a blur. Nothing but a blur. But still, compare Hinokami Chronicles 2 on max settings to Hinokami Chronicles 1 lowest settings. This shadow, this, like, you know, here, this, it's all, like, you had this tree, here it's gone. These shadows that were here, they're gone now. Like, actual insanity. Like, and low settings, it's like, wow. This is Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1 on max settings, lowest settings. Again, mostly it's the anti-aliasing. That is, like, the main thing that I notice when I look at this. Everything else is mostly the same, honestly. But now let's see Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on max settings. Bruh. Lowest settings in the first game, max settings in the second game. House, gone. This tree, gone. Everything gone. It's just, and the shadows here, gone. But now let's see Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on the lowest settings. And, well, the main difference is this. The gate, you can actually see the details. On the lowest settings, it's a blur. And, of course, the anti-aliasing on, it's, you know, it's all pixelated. But, brother, how can we ignore this? The max settings, second game max settings, first game lowest settings, and then first game max settings. How? Just how is this possible? Demon Slayer 2, lowest settings. Demon Slayer 2, max settings. Demon Slayer 1, lowest settings. Demon Slayer 1, max settings. Demon Slayer 2, lowest settings. Demon Slayer 2, max settings. Demon Slayer 1, lowest settings. Demon Slayer 1, max settings. Actually insane, man. Look at this. Just look at this. Wow. Wow. Wow, I can't. Alright, so now let's go with this stage. I also feel like this stage has been ruined a great deal, and I really don't know how I feel about this. So this is the first game, this is the second game. So again, you're probably not going to be able to notice this immediately, even if I put it on full screen, but yeah, so first game, second game. First game, second game, right? First game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second. Alright, so now we're going to look at the details. So, this is the first game. This is the second game. You notice anything? Yeah, look at the light in the first game. It actually illuminates this surface, this area. You can see the rays of light right here. In the second game, that's gone. The light is just there for decoration. Right? It's just there for decoration, nothing else. Of course, the first game has better looking trees. Here, it's just that low resolution texture. It just looks so bad. And of course, in the first game, you had more trees in the background, more bushes, as opposed to the second game, where you just don't have that. Again, first game, second game. First thing you'll notice is that, you know, less vegetation in the second game, and everything is just way blurrier. Like, look at the tree in the second game, the tree in the first game. The textures are just so goddamn bad. It's insulting. The ground in the first game, the ground in the second game, bro, they literally remove the grass. Look at this, bro, why? And not only that, but look at how detailed the ground was in general in the first game. It was crisp. Second game, just a blur, man. It's a blur. Okay, moving on. First game, second game, just remove all these blades of grass. Remove this, all of this. Just remove it and replace it with this blur. Amazing. And now we got this. So, I want to show you something. First game, second game. First game, second game. Just like before, in the first game, you can see the rays of light from the lamp. Second game, it's gone. You see some level of illumination here, I think, but it's nothing compared to the first game. Nothing at all. Though I will give credit where it's due. In the second game, the windows here are better compared to the first game. They actually have lights here, and these lights also work. So, yeah, this is one of the few things this game does better on this stage, right? But this is just, they removed the lighting. They just removed it. It's insane. And even the textures on the window here, just so bad. Oh, and this as well. This is the first game. Look at the letters on the flag, right? This is the first game. This is the second game. So, first game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. It is actually insane. And like, keep in mind, both games are on max settings. Max settings. But okay, moving on. First game, second game. What do you notice? So, in the first game, you have more of these flags or billboards, whatever they're called. In the second game, you've got fewer of those. See here, 3. Here you got 2. They just have fewer. Like, this is the first game. The second game, they're just gone. You also have fewer people. In the first game, you had more people walking around here, like, as you can see here. But in the first game, they just got removed. Like, they're just not. There aren't as many people here. So that's a shame, obviously. But look at this. This is the first game, and you can see this tower in the background. I don't know if it's a church or whatever, but it looks very detailed. You can see the details here, even though I'm on 1080p. You can see that it's very detailed. Now let's look at the rooftop of this same exact building in the second game. They replaced it with a literal triangle. Because, hey, it's easier to render than all of this, like all these details. No, let's replace it with just this. Look at what they did. Look how they massacred my boy. Like, and again, here, same thing. Like, in the first game, the ground is beautiful. Second game, it is a blurry mess. It's a blurry mess. Not only that, but you can see here in the first game, you can clearly see these chains connecting these planks or whatever they are. Here, you can barely see them, because the anti-aliasing in this game is horrendous. But we'll talk about that later. Okay, so, again, second game, first game. Insanity. We've already been over this. The detail on this building in the first game is pretty good. Second game, trash. This, we've been over this as well. And now let's look at this. Bro, look at this first game. Look at the rooftop of this house. You can see these little, I don't know if these are like leaves or stains or like raindrops, like reflections. But in the second game, it's just gone. It's like Minecraft. Not only did they completely ruin this rooftop, but in the first game, this this house had a window, which looked very nice. It had these shadows over it. You can see the shadows here, like in here. The window just got removed in the second game. Just completely removed. And of course, the first game had functional lamps that illuminate the surface, and this game has none of that. Because why would you need that, really? Why the fuck would you need that? And of course, as well, like in the first game, the vegetation was really good. In the second game, you've got these low resolution textures, these horrible PS1 graphics. Like, I don't even know what to say here. It's just really, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Like, look at this. Again, the grass, not really sure if I got anything to say here. Like, obviously the grass and the ground is going to look better on every stage in the first game. Look at this. So this is the second, and this is the first game. You can see the anti-aliasing, and it's very good. You can see the chains. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. Absolutely not. But this is what it looks like. In the second game, it's gone. The chains are gone. And I don't know if they're gone. I don't think they're gone. I just think the anti-aliasing is so dog shit that you can't even see it. You can't even see the chains. Like, you can't see anything. And not to mention how blurry everything is compared to the first game. Oh my god. So that about does it for this stage. Alright, now we have the Boulder Clearing stage. I don't have much to say about this stage, but this is the first game. This is the second game. Again, let me show you like this. First game, second game. First game, second game. One thing I want you to notice, obviously outside of the ground being better in the first game, always, I want you to notice these rays, like these sun rays, or I think they're sun rays. I don't know if you can see them in the first game. Like, you can see them here. They're illuminating, like they're falling on the ground. Like, you know what I mean, basically. And in the second game, they're gone. This effect is gone. I'll decrease the brightness so you can see it better. But you can see that there's this mist around the stage in the first game. In the second game, it's gone, right? It's just gone. So, first game, second game. First game, second game. Okay, so let's look at some close-ups. Alright, so in the first game, you can see the vegetation. In the second game, look at what it looks like. Now listen, I understand that somebody might think that this looks better than this, because these are kind of like spotty and dotted and look pixelated, but that's because of the ambient occlusion in both of these games being kind of ass. But these are higher resolution textures in the first game. In the second game, these are just one-dimensional surfaces. These are like the worst possible trees, and same here, this whole stage replaced these trees with low resolution trees. Like, these are low res leaves, right? Look at this, this is like a flat surface. This is all just, you know, GTA San Andreas and Vice City, they have these types of textures, basically. Just, you know, it gives the illusion of having a richer background, but it's actually not. This is way better and way more detailed, even though it kind of looks spotty and pixelated. So this is like the main thing, and of course the textures are way better in the first game, but you can see these light rays, and they're just gone completely in the second game, and I think that's a damn shame. Alright, so now we got this stage, right? So this is the first game, this is the second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. And I think one thing you'll immediately notice is that this game, bro, the second game, and this bothers me more than all, like, I don't think I would have such a big issue with all the removed textures, the blurry ground, the removed vegetation, the horrible anti-aliasing, all of that. I don't think I'd have as much of a problem with that. My main issue is with the fact that look at how washed out this stage looks. Not just in terms of like coloring, no, they remove the shadows. Look at how you've got this shade here. Look at how nice it looks. It's supposed to be dark. And here, it's like you have the shadows. They're here, but they are the worst, most low-res shadows you'll ever see. Same here. Like, look at how nice this looks, and now you got this. Also, see these light beams? I seriously hope you'll be able to see them. Look at this ray. I don't know if I think it's the moon, because you can see the moon right here. So look at how there's this beam of light, and here it's gone. All of these environmental effects, the volumetric lighting and all that stuff, it's all been removed. You don't have it in the second game. Look at this. Like, this is in the first game. Look at this tree, right? Look at this effect. Gone. Everything is gone. You have no ambient effects. And of course, don't get me started on the grass, the ground. We'll look at the close-ups now. So, first game, second game. I don't think I need to say anything. The vegetation in the first game is very nice, very dense. In the second game, it's just PS2 stuff. The texture of the tree, way better in the first game compared to the second game. The environmental effects as well. Look at these flat surfaces. Look at this 1D flat surface. Compare this bush to the second game. Brother, like, wow. Wow, insanity. Okay, this is like first game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. Okay, this is a little, you know, maybe it isn't the best angle, but it's still the same shot. Again, in the second game, you know, like, the vegetation is just ass. Same here, like, first game, second game, first game, like, first game, second game, first game, second game, first game, second game. Moving on, first game, second game, like, again, the vegetation in the second game is so horrendous, it's insane. And this, of course, first game, second game, look at how they removed these effects, these light beams from the moon. They're just gone. Like, you don't see them in the first game. Everything is just fucked, man. It's fucked. And look at the textures of the rock in the first game. Meanwhile, second game, like, just look at this, man. Look at this. Why? Why? Like, why would you do this? Of course, the grass in the first game. Now, brother, look at the contrast. Look at how many blades of grass you got. Look at how much grass you got. And the shadows are so nice. It gives this feeling of being in shade. And in the second game, it's like, bruh, this might be the worst. Like the grass here is just, the ground here is just nothing. It's just vomit. It looks like vomit. And not only that, but look at it in the first game, look at the vegetation here. Like, you've got more bushes. Look at this game. Like, they removed these bushes. They straight up removed all of this. First game, second game. See this? Like this right here in the first game? Gone. This, gone. Everything has been killed in this game so that it could render at 60 FPS. It could perform like at stable 60. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. This is insanity. Yeah, same thing as always. More vegetation, more grass than in the first game, than in the second game. Absolute dog shit, bro. Absolutely, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. First game, second game. Again with these horrible, low-resolution ass flat surfaces, man. Actual insanity how they did this. And of course, in the first game you got shadow. In the second game you got nothing, essentially. Nothing. Again, first game, look at the shadows. Like, the rock looks like you've got these rays of light only slightly falling on the rock. And in the second game, it's like, nah, just no. Like, no. They just decided that they should remove all of it. So, yeah, man. Again, grass, first game, second game. Shadow, no shadow. Like, I don't know what to say, man. This is just bad. Oh, this is also one of the worst offenders, in my opinion. So, this is the first game, this is the second game. First game, second game. First game, second game, right? First game, second game. First game, second game. I think the first thing you'll notice is just how much more vibrant the colors are in the first game compared to the second game. But now we're going to look at some close-ups. So, first game, second game. Needless to say, the grass, the ground, everything is better in the first game. The second game, just a blurry mess of low-res textures. See this rock right here? It got removed. It's not just one rock. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rocks. Just got removed. Yeah, so let's not dwell on this. First game, second game. What do you know? Low-resolution vegetation right here, right? And the trees as well. In fact, I would say, like, look at this. Look at the tree in the first game, and look at it in the second game. They even removed the branches, I think. Like, this is the first game, this is the second game. The light is more vibrant here, like the lamp. Here, it's just there for decoration. Also, look at the colors, man. The colors are so much better in the first game. It's unreal. But we'll talk more about that later. Again, first game, second game. Bruh. First game, bush, second game. Look at this flat surface, bro. Look at this. Same here. First game, second game. Can barely even see anything. First game, second game. And yeah, the tree itself, like this tree in the first game. In the second game, it's just ass, bro. It's just ass. More vegetation here in the first game compared to the second game, but you already knew that. Again, we've been over this, like, first game, second game, less stuff in general. First game, second game, bro, even here, the textures are so much crisper in the first game compared to the second game. It's insane. Like, it's actually insane, like, how they did this. Moving on. Wait, let me see something. Okay, yeah, like, even in the first game, you can see this hole, and you can see a crack right next to it, inside of the mansion. But then, in the second game, it's just removed. Just removed it, because why the fuck not? Moving on. Again, the ground. First game, second game. Not gonna say anything. Moving on. First game, second game. Bruh. Not only did they remove the grass here, but they even removed this small bush. Bro, like, look at this. Nah, I can't, bro. It looks so dumb, man. Like, first game, second game. Moving on, first game, second game. Oh, would you look at that? They decided to remove this tree. I guess that it's not enough, you know, just lowering the textures and the vegetation and the shadows and the reflections and the anti-aliasing. Not even that is not enough for the Switch and the PS4 to properly run this game at 60 FPS. We gotta just straight up remove this tree from the game, right? And let's remove this bush while we're at it. This one right here. Let's just remove all of it. And the things we don't remove, let's just replace them with low resolution everything, right? Yeah. First game, second game. Like, the textures, it's not even close. Also, look at this. First game, look at the lamp. It actually serves a purpose. Second game, it does. This time, it's not completely, like, the lighting is there, but it's just worse, right? It doesn't have that warm feeling to it. Okay, so moving on, we've already seen this. The texture is better in the first game compared to the second game. Even here, this lamp, like, you can see how this is illuminated, right, in the first game. In the second game, nothing. Nothing at all, right? Again, first game, second game, look at these flat leaves, like, insane. Insane of this, and of course, the lamp looks way better here. So yeah, this is just not good. Like, first game, second game. First game, second game. Look at the crown of this tree. How much richer it is in the first game compared to the second game. Though that could be because they removed the fucking tree altogether, but whatever. So yeah, that's basically what they did. This stage has also suffered a lot. So, first game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. Now, let's look at this in more detail. So, of course, in the first game, this area, bruh. Like, look at all this right here. You can see every nook and cranny, and here it's just one color. Just, what is this, like, dark blue? Like, you can barely see anything. You can see the textures here, and here it's just, like, nothing. Like, nothing at all. So this house looks way less detailed in the second game. First game, of course, needless to say, the vegetation. Look at how nice this tree looks, and here it's just those low-res textures. Also, the light, of course, in the first game, it actually serves a purpose. In the second game, it's just there, not really illuminating anything, not shining on anything. But yeah, that's even the you can see the roof tiles here in the first game. The second game, it's just a blur. The anti-aliasing in the first game on these cables is better than in the second game, of course, but that's not really much to write home about, honestly. Again, we've already been over this. The light in the first game actually works. It exists. In the second game, it does not. The ground. First game, second game. I think in this stage, they just completely, like, all this grass that was in the first game, all of this stuff, they removed all of it. This game doesn't have, this stage doesn't have even a little bit of grass. Okay, it does actually here. Like 3 to 4 blades, like, of grass. Like, this is, and of course, this blurry mess This actual mess, so yeah. Of course, look at the tiles here, or whatever you want to call them, way more pronounced. And you can see how the light from this window, like the lighting is actually reflecting, it's shining on onto this rooftop. Whereas in the second game, nope. That's, you know, what even are lights? Like, what even is that? Of course, first game, second game. First game has lights that work, lamps that function. Second game does not. Right? Of course, in the first game, you can see more background detail as opposed to the second game. Yeah, not really sure there's anything more to say here. Again, first game, actual functioning lights, and here it's like, it's not like they're not there at all, but it's like this effect right here. Look at the first game, look at the second game. Like, it's not even close. And the textures here, like this and this, it's just bad. We've already been over this, like the grass, of course, is going to be better in the first game compared to the second game. And not only that, but look at this. The first game had these very clearly pronounced stones, right? And, of course, the grass and all. Here they removed the grass, and they made the stones less pronounced, but they have grass on them. Like, I guess this is moss. This is supposed to be moss, I guess. But I just prefer the first game by a lot, because this just looks weird to me. I don't know. Oh, and of course they removed, like, these 3 rocks. Who needs them anyway, man? It's just, yeah. Another stage where you can clearly see downgrade. So this is the first game. This is the second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. Now let's look at the close-ups. So this is the first game. This is the second game. So look at the branches of these trees, of this tree in particular, in the first game. You can see a lot of them. And here it's like 3. Just 3. 1, 2, 3. Because, well, less things to animate, I guess, or, well, render. Not only that, but look at the colors. Even though both of these have been incredibly zoomed in to the point where you can only see pixels, look at how much more color and variation you had in the first game compared to the second game. It's actually insane. Moving on. You know, this same thing, like, look at the textures in the first game, then the second game, it's washed out. It's just washed out. Moving on, first game, second game. First game, second game. You can see these textures, you can see the moon illuminating the rooftop, and here it's like, nah, bruh, nah, chief. Like, we don't need these effects, we don't need reflections at all. Moving on, this is the first game, this is the second game. Like, of course, the lighting is always going to be stronger in the first game. The textures here compared to here. Moving on, this is the first game, this is the second game. Notice the leaves in the first game. Sure, they're just pixels, but you can see them in the distance, like these red leaves. But in the second game, all of it has been removed. Like, you just don't have them. And of course, the textures are way better in the first game. This is the second game. And of course, in the first game, you had grass. In the second game, you have zero grass, and it's all just a blur, right? And of course, first game, second game. Look at this crack on the road. That is not present in the second game. And, like, everything. Like, look at the ground. Just in general, the ground looks much better in the first game compared to the second game. In the second game, it's a blurry mess, as always. Alright, we got 2 more stages. So, this is Mount Natagumo in the first game. So, first game, second game. 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 Okay? So, you already get how this works. So, let's look at the details and the close-ups. Alright, so in the first game, this is the first game, you can see that there's a lot of vegetation, a lot of grass on the ground, you got these rocks, everything looks pretty damn decent. And in the second game, yeah, no grass at all, nothing, like no grass, like literally just a little bit, a few blades here and there, and that's basically it. One more thing is, look at this tree in the first game, right? You see this bush right next to it, and in the second game, they just completely removed it and they just replaced it with this low-res stuff. Needless to say, this, like, behind this little, like, these few branches, you have this bush that has been removed, as you can see here. The angle isn't really the best. Also, this cobweb, this, like, string, this thread, it's gone. I mean, I don't know if it's fully gone. I think it is. I think, yeah, it's fully gone. Moving on. First game, second game. Bruh. In the first game, you can see everything. Like, look at the tree bark. Look at it. In the second game, like, just look at this. And not only that, but look at the vegetation in the first game. This thing is bustling with, like, trees and bushes and everything. Everything. And here, it's like... This, I'm only noticing this now. This thing, these few branches have been completely removed. It's just gone. These bushes that were in the first game, wait, no, these bushes that were in the first game, they've been completely removed. Like, they're, like, no longer there. And, of course, look at this. This, like, bush or tree or whatever you want to call it, in the first game, it looked very nice. In the second game, you've got these low-res, one-dimensional flat surfaces once again. Once again, you got this, alright? First game, second game. Yeah, they removed the grass, obviously. Just completely removed it. They removed these little trees as well. Completely removed them. Replaced the vegetation here with this, as you can see. Okay, moving on. First game, second game. At this point, I don't even know if we've been over this, because, like, this is all so repetitive. Like, again, first game has a lot of vegetation, it looks nice. Second game just removed it. Removed this, removed that, replaced those beautiful bushes and trees with this. And, yeah, even here, like, look at the grass right here. All of this. It's just gone, man. It's a blur. All of it is a blur, man. Everything. Like, comparing the first and second game. First game, second game. At this point, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, honestly. This is like, I got nothing more to say here. First game, second game. Again, grass, everything, the ground, more detailed in the first game. And here, first game, second game. Again, these beautiful bushes have been replaced with low-res stuff. The texture of the rock was way better compared to the second game. Here as well, they replaced it with low-res stuff. Everything, like, everything is just worse. So yeah, first game, second game, first game, second game, first game, second game, first game, second game. Like, even this tree, like, the textures are more crisp compared to the second game. Better vegetation. They even removed this, like this right here. They removed it. It's no longer here. Again, same thing. Same thing. Like, I don't even know. And again, look at these, like, moon rays. I think these are, like, moonbeams illuminating this area. Like, you can see it here. Like, this whole, like, it just looks different, right? It's kind of like it's bathing in the moon in a way. In the second game, it's gone. It's just gone. Not to mention that, you know, with the vegetation, this tree and all, just blur. Like, these environmental effects, the fact that they removed that, I know you probably can't see it properly, but it's there. This, like, everything here, it's just gone. And, yeah, here as well, look at this. Like, look at how they massacred my boy. Yeah, nothing more to say. And finally, we got this stage. So, first game, second game. First game, second game. Alright? First game, second game. First game, second game. Alright? Now let's look at the close-ups. So, this is the first game, this is the second game. First thing you'll notice is that in the first game you had grass everywhere. Here, here, here. You see all this grass. There, here. In the second game, all of it has been removed and replaced with this blur. Right? Like, all of it. I'm not joking. There is not even one blade of grass. Compare this, right here, it's gone. Compare this, it's gone. Compare this, it's gone. This, gone. This, gone. This, gone. This, gone. All of it is gone. These little trees, just like one-dimensional textures. Here, first game. Here, second game. What else? What else? Even the textures of these tiles better in the first game. Second game, ass. Better shadows here. Here you can barely see that they even have shadows. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, that's basically. I don't think I have much more to say about this. Oh yeah, I do actually. I think they removed this tree. Or maybe... No, they didn't. It's actually here. It's just the angle is a little weird. Okay, moving on. First game, second game. Mamma mia. So, again, better textures, better colors, better shading in the first game compared to the second game. What else? What else? Again, of course, better vegetation all around. The background just looks so much richer in the first game. It really makes you feel like you're, like, secluded in this forest. And here, it's like just random MS Paint background. Of course, better shading on the tree. Here, everywhere, really. Moving on. Yeah, this is what I keep talking about. First game, second game, better shading. First game, second game, bro. Like, look at the textures of this tree in the first game. Looks so good. Second game, looks so bare bones. And I'm not even talking about the vegetation. I'm talking about the textures themselves. It's just so... It's such a downgrade, objectively speaking. Also, yeah, I think... I don't know what else I can say here. The grass, of course, it's been removed. Moving on. First game, second game. Better shading on the rock. Better textures. You have grass. Second game, you got nothing. First game, better vegetation. Second game, flat surface. Moving on. And here you can see the first game, and now you got the second game. Look at the grass here. It's gone. See? This? It's gone. You see the grass here. Gone everywhere. Everywhere you see the first game, everywhere you see grass, it is gone completely from the first game. From the second game. The bushes, the trees. First game, second game, you got these low-resolution textures. First game, like here. Second game, look at this. Look at these GTA Vice City-ass textures. First game, second game. Just flat surface. Like, just insane. Grass. No grass. And, yeah. Yeah, you can see it here as well. Like, first game, second game. First game, second game. First game, second game. Now I want to talk about the effects, or well, lack thereof. So, basically, in this game, one of the first things I noticed, actually, before I even noticed anything about the stages, because my friend was actually the one who was like, yo, like, he got the game before me, and he was like, yo, I'm noticing a lot of, like, the stages have been ruined. That's what he said. And I immediately, like, when I got the game, I saw that as well. But the first thing I noticed before I even got the game was that the effects were a little wonky. Like, on all of those YouTube videos I saw, something was just off, and I couldn't exactly put my finger on it. Now, my friend plays Zenitsu a lot, and obviously he noticed some major differences between Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1 and 2 when it came to Zenitsu, and I noticed them immediately as well. So, the first thing you'll notice is that in Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1, when Zenitsu does his air skill, you can see this lightning effect. That's literally the point of the whole attack. It's like a line. It's like lightning. And in Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2, this lightning is not present. They just scrapped it. They were just like, nah, we don't need lightning. And this attack looks so incredibly... It looks horrible without the lightning. They just straight up removed the entire effect. That is crazy. But one thing that I noticed before this Zenitsu thing was Akaza's disorder technique. So I couldn't put my finger on what exactly it was, but something about every gameplay video that I saw in which Akaza uses this technique, something about it just looked odd to me. And now I know why. So check this out. You'll notice that when Akaza uses this technique in the sequel, in the new game, there's less everything. There are fewer punches. It's just so much smaller, and you'll notice that the impact is a lot worse. Like, you'll notice that he just doesn't have as many punches. And no, this is not done so they could decrease the hitbox, because Akaza is currently one of the best characters in the game. So no, this is not like, yo, they did it to, like, decrease the hitbox. No, the hitbox is the same, if not better. But the thing is, they just removed the visuals. They dumbed them down, and they're just way fewer punches now. But okay, whatever. One thing that I noticed as well was Rui's ultimate. Now, this, I don't even know what to say. I couldn't put my finger... for all of these, I initially was unable to put my finger on what was causing these things, what was causing me to feel this way. But now that I'm able to compare these things side by side, it's abundantly clear why I was, why I felt that way. So, when you look at Rui in Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1, in his ultimate, you'll notice that when he uses this, these, like, threads, this, like, I don't know what you want to call them, strings, cobwebs. In Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1, you see a lot of beautiful effects, right? Like, you see a lot of red, you see this cobweb, but in Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2, that is literally, I don't want to say gone, because in the first frame it literally is gone. In the first frame it is gone, it doesn't exist, but later these threads, they appear, but look at how horrible they look compared to the first game. And I was like, maybe it's better in the second game. Maybe it's just different. Maybe I'm tripping. That's how I felt initially. But I knew that something was different, and I didn't like it. And now I see why I didn't like it. It's because they literally destroy the effects. And that's not all. So this is Hinokami Chronicles 1 on max settings. This is Hinokami Chronicles 1 on the lowest possible settings with everything turned off. And this is Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 on max settings. Meaning that Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2, once again, on the maximum possible settings, looks way worse than the first game on the lowest settings. I'm not even sure what to say at this point. This just looks terrible. And I mean, I know, like, wow, nobody cares about this. Like I said, this video isn't about whether you care or not. It isn't about how significant this is. You could say this is a minor gripe, really. I'm just trying to show you that this is there. These are issues. No matter how insignificant you may find them, they are there, they're present, they're real, and they are objectively a downgrade. Akaza's compass needle, look at, like, the first game and the second game. It's like they removed this glare, or I don't even know if this is, like, if glare is the right term for this, but they just removed, it just looks so washed out, and even the textures themselves are just so bad. Even when you put Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1 on the lowest possible settings, it still looks better than Hinokami Chronicles 2, right? I even noticed this before I got the game, like, something was just off. Right? Also, look at the fire, or all the flames, in Hinokami Tanjiro's ultimate. And I think this also applies to his skills as well, not just the ultimate. You can see how this glare is missing in the second game. I don't know if this is glare, I don't really know what this effect is called, but it is an effect that was present in the first game, and now it's missing. The flames just look hand-drawn, basically. There is no, like, effect, there's no brightness, there's nothing to it. Like, look at the effects. When you look at Tengen's circles in his ultimate, and also in his jutsu, I mean, his skill, you'll notice that they are so, like, they're not as thick, they're not as vibrant, they've been, like, watered down, they've been washed out, just like everything else. And speaking of washing out, so a lot of these are just, like, obvious downgrades. They remove textures, they remove shadows, effects, anti-aliasing. A lot of these things are just, all of them are, like, way worse. But one thing I also noticed is that every ultimate has this weird filter, and it's like dimming. In animation, I know that, like, the TV version of the anime, they will use ghosting and dimming to, like, because some people who have epilepsy, they might get overwhelmed by the vibrant colors and a lot, all these flashing images. So in the TV version of every anime, they kind of ghost these kinds of scenes, and they also blur them out and they dim them. And on the Blu-ray version, they remove that. Like, I know this because I'm into Sakuga and all that, and I know how it works. But this is a video game, and look at this. This is Rengoku's ultimate, and you can definitely tell that in Hinokami Chronicles 2, look at how dim, like how dark this scene is. The fire isn't nearly as bright. It just looks worse. It just looks worse. But okay, this is actually tame in comparison to what I'm about to show you. So, Entertainment District Zenitsu's ultimate was one of my favorite ultimates in Demon Slayer 1. It was one of my top 3 ultimates, probably. I loved it. And the thing that I loved about it the most was in this scene where he basically turns into lightning, in a way. It is so beautiful. In the anime, there was a scene just like this. They clearly try to replicate that scene, and it looks absolutely stunning in the first game. In the second game, however, I noticed that this ultimate didn't have nearly as much impact. And I was like, maybe it's because the ultimate is 60 FPS, you don't really feel the impact because the animations were originally designed to be 30 FPS. No. Look at this side by side. I'll slow it down later. So, basically, what happens here is you will notice insane dimming in the second game. Whereas in the first game, look at this, the atmosphere, the background, everything behind Zenitsu, it becomes dark to make the lightning more pronounced. But it's not just the fact that in the first game the background is kind of darkened. It's also the lightning. In the second game, everything is dimmed. Everything is blurry. And not only that, but look at how in the first game the lightning becomes it shifts from yellow to blue to yellow to blue, and you feel this insane impact. It is so sharp, so crisp, and so vibrant, and it gives you this feeling of impact. It is beautiful. I know that, most people don't feel this way, but to me, this ultimate has been completely ruined because of this, because that was my favorite part. No cap. I absolutely loved it. And now it's gone because they decided to dim the lightning and completely destroy this. I don't know why they did this. I don't know if it's for the same reason that these animation companies dim their anime, because, some kids or people with epilepsy might be, flashing colors and all that, but that doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't know. This is just really bad in my opinion. I really don't like this. In the newest Team Ultimate between Tanjiro and Nezuko, you can see how this dragon is actually blurred at certain parts. And this one guy, I don't remember who it was, but I saw this YouTuber, he was basically playing the game, and he saw this ultimate, and he was like, damn, bro, how much blur do you need? So even, it's like people are noticing these things, and I am sure that if this ultimate was a thing, if this had been in Hinokami Chronicles 1, I am almost 100% sure that it would not have been blurred. So, yeah, this is kind of something that they did, and like I said, low versus high settings, it has nothing to do with this, because even on the lowest possible settings, the first game doesn't have these issues at all. Okay, so one thing that I've also noticed, and I noticed this before I even got the game, because like I said, I pay incredible attention to everything, especially Ultimates, because I rewatch them over and over again. So one thing that I noticed is that in Hinokami Chronicles 2, again, Entertainment District Zenitsu's Ultimate, he has this really thick, bold line on his sword, in his ultimate. Now, when I posted this on Reddit, people were saying how this looks amazing. What are you bitching about? It looks so much better. You can actually tell, you can see the outline of the sword, and not to mention, you're also able to see Zenitsu's bangs, which I will concede. I'll give props. Like in the first game, for some reason you can't see his bangs, or well, not his bangs, but the outlines, whereas in the second game you can actually see it, so that's great, that's cool. But look at this weird glare effect, what lens flare effect that's coming from his sword. I don't even know, this green stuff. But I mean, okay, whatever, doesn't matter. I personally prefer the first game, not to mention the color of the sword is golden, whereas in the second game it looks like yellowish, like shit-stained yellowish. But again, I don't want to nitpick. I'm not going to nitpick because, well, the hair really is better in the second game. But, remember this thing that I said about the thick, bold line on the sword. Please remember that. In this same ultimate, you're able to see, so in the first game, when Zenitsu, puts his foot down in a way, and he charges the attack, you're able to see his toes and everything, and it's very distinguishable. You see these lines, you see the outline, it's very good. In the second game, though, you see that his toes don't even exist. They are not, they're not nowhere to be found. They're in GTA San Andreas, how the characters have their hands are essentially one finger. They're not separate. They're not separated. Yeah, well, that's exactly what's happening here. But that's not the only thing bothering me. Look at his heel. Look at his ankle. In the second game, look at how choppy this is. Look at the low-resolution textures. Look at all of this. In the first game, everything was perfect. Everything was accurate to the anime. And funnily enough, in the first game, this shot had those thick lines, which added to the overall feeling, whereas here they removed them. But that's not all. Not only did they completely remove the toes, not only did they break his legs, his ankle was fucked, his heel was fucked, but you're able to see that the ground is clipping through his foot. Look at these rocks. They are literally going through they're obstructing the view. And to top it off, look at this rock on the right side. In the first game, you see a lot of detail on this rock. It's even illuminated. Whereas in the second game, it literally looks like a glitch, something, that blemish tool in Photoshop for removing pimples and zits? That's what it looks like. It looks like a stain on the screen. Look at this. It doesn't even look 3D or 2D or anything. It is just a flat surface. What even is this? I'm so confused. But again, I'm sure people will find a way to say that, no, bro, actually in the second game, it looks way better because the human anatomy is like that. This is what a foot actually looks like. Whatever, I really couldn't care less at this point, alright? So that's also one of the things that I noticed. And this is not my first rodeo with CC2, alright? I am finally going to talk about something that I've been meaning to talk about since 2015, but I never got an opportunity to because, well, it didn't warrant a video. It was just so irrelevant, and I really didn't want to talk about it to anyone. It was something that only bothered me. But since we're talking about the effects, I feel like it's only fair for me to say something about Storm. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is... Okay, so in the beta of Storm 4, a lot of things were different, and I would say they were way better. I saw all those gameplay videos, all that gameplay footage of Storm 4 before the game came out, and when the game came out, I noticed that certain things were just changed. I'll talk more about this later, but right now, I want to talk solely about the effects. So, you know how in the last Naruto the movie, Naruto uses an orange Rasen Shuriken? But, well, you know, if you saw the scan, because I was religiously following every piece of Storm news back then, you'll notice that in the scan, Naruto, the last Naruto, has an orange Rasen Shuriken in his Team Ultimate with Sasuke, accurate to the movie. But when the game came out, he had a normal blue Rasen Shuriken. Now, why did they do this? Maybe they felt like the black flames would look better with the normal Rasen Shuriken. Again, this is not even... I don't know if you can compare this to Demon Slayer because they didn't really remove this effect. They never even, like, you know, we never even got it in the game to begin with, alright? Still, I find that kind of odd, but that's not all. Remember how I mentioned that in Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2, they added these thick lines for no reason? Yeah, well, listen, I'm not gonna say whether or not that's an improvement, but I will say this. In the beta for Storm 4, you could see that these thick lines were present. Then the game came out, and these thick lines were just gone. And then, after the second Season Pass DLC, they brought them back. But with it came some weird... I don't want to call them issues, but something was just off to me. You know Rinnegan Sasuke's ultimate, Takemikazuchi, which was basically like Susanoo Kagetsuchi Chidori? Yeah, well, in the beta, you could see that the flames appear in the palm of the Susanoo's hand, right? But when the game came out, this would only happen once every 80 attempts, and I think it was stage dependent. Like, it depended on the stage. Like, if you were fighting in, let's say, the final valley, you would get this effect, but only sometimes. I think it also depended on who you were fighting, like what character you were fighting. Still, let's look at what Storm 4 did after the second DLC. They completely removed this. So now, when Sasuke does this ultimate, you no longer see the flames appearing in the palm of the Susanoo's hand. Like, you just see them just pop up, like they just spawn out of nowhere. And this is something that carried over to Connections. Like, they just completely scrapped this effect, right? I don't know why they would do this. I genuinely don't understand. Another thing that this is something that I don't know if anyone has noticed this, but this is just an enigma to me. This whole company is an enigma. So, Baryon Mode Naruto, when you use him, when you play as Baryon Mode Naruto, and you use his ultimate, you'll notice that he looks black. Like, look at his face. He just looks so dark. These shadows, I don't think they're meant to be this dark. Well, guess what? If the second player, player 2, be it your CPU or your friend or whoever you're fighting, if player 2 uses this ultimate with Baryon Mode Naruto, his face will be normal. Like this. Alright? This is basically only if you're playing as player 2. I am 1,000,000,000% sure that this is not, like, I don't think this was intentional. Why did they just completely destroy his face in, like, I don't know, man, this is so weird to me. But remember how I said something about those thick lines? Again, I'm not saying whether or not this is an improvement, or an upgrade, or a downgrade, but when Storm 4 dropped, there were no thick lines. But then, when the second DLC came out, like Season Pass, they added these thick lines. But in addition to those thick lines, they also introduced a lot of... in this case, it wasn't even dimming or blurring, it was just darkening of everything. And in some cases, it improved things, in some cases, it didn't. For example, if you look at Boruto, and again, I actually think that in this case, the thick lines are an improvement, but look at this. Like, this is the game at launch, this is after the second DLC. This is Sasuke at launch, and this is the second DLC. But, then you look at the third Raikage, and this is him at launch, and this is him after this DLC. You can barely even see what's going on, as you can see here. But if you look at Kurama here, In this ultimate, you see that initially he had these black outlines that were very thin, and then they changed them to white outlines, right? They did the same with the Susanoo, they did the same with a lot of things. Another thing that I feel is worth noting is that, remember that ultimate that I just mentioned, like Rinnegan Sasuke's Perfect Susanoo, and how they removed the flames, like the build-up, the formation of the flames? Yeah, well, in Storm 4, when it launched, right, this is what the Susanoo looked like, alright? It didn't even have any outlines, really, so you couldn't really tell any of the details on the face. Then, the second DLC drops, and you're able to see these thick lines, though somehow it looks less detailed overall. Like, I don't know why, maybe it's just me, and I think it's the colors. Yeah, the colors are more washed out. They're not as purple, if you know what I mean. They're not as vibrant. And then Storm Connections comes out, and they just, bloom goes brrr, like it's just, they just, I don't know, and I think this is the best version, actually. Even though it's overly bright, I think this is the version where you can see his face, I mean, the Susanoo's face clearly, and I like it, actually. But then look at the hand, look at the Susanoo's hand. Again, like I said, like, this is Storm 4, right? And this is Storm Connections. And I think Connections looks better with these white outlines, but I'm just, like, this isn't me saying, oh, this is worse or this is better. I'm just saying it's kind of funny how CC2 does this, how they make these changes that just nobody pays attention to, right? It just flies under the radar. Yeah, I notice these things, and I'm not going to say which is better and which is worse. I'm just going to say that I noticed them, and that's kind of like the whole point of this. Okay, now I want to talk about the anti-aliasing, and unfortunately, I can't really provide a lot of very good examples here, but believe me, they are noticeable, especially if you're on a larger screen. So, I think it's most noticeable in the character select screen, because, you know, the character models are kind of big there, and you can see the jagged edges better. So, in this game, in the second game, the anti-aliasing is pretty bad. You can see a lot of jagged edges. You can see here with Giyu and Tanjiro, you can barely even see their mouth. Whereas in the first game, you can even see the vein on Tanjiro's forehead. It's very pronounced. And this is something that I've noticed, like, but again, like, anti-aliasing is the least of our worries here. Still, the reason I'm bringing this up in the first place is that, well, the anti-aliasing is worse. That is definitely a thing. Like, it's undeniable, but this is not the first time I've witnessed something like this from CC2. Because, you see, when I played Storm 3 and Revolution, in the graphics settings, you had an option to toggle SSAA on and off. So what is SSAA? SSAA is super sampling, and it's the ultimate form of anti-aliasing. The thing is, I don't even know if this qualifies as anti-aliasing, because it's essentially, for all intents and purposes, upscaling your game. Not really, but it kind of has that effect. So what SSAA does is it removes all of the jagged edges completely, but it's still, like, your resolution stays the same, as far as I know. And this is how it worked in Storm 3 and Revolution. When I got Storm 4, the first thing I noticed was that the game had insane jagged edges on 1080p. I turned on FXAA, which is like the lowest form of anti-aliasing, and it didn't do anything. After the Road to Boruto expansion, they added MSAA, which is multi-sampling, and that didn't do any, like, you could see a mild, marginal improvement. Like, the edges weren't as jagged, but it was nowhere near the perfection of Storm 3 and Revolution. Because those games, like, they didn't have any jagged edges. And multi-sampling, it just made things weird. And for some reason, it even lowered my FPS back then. I don't know why, because it makes no sense, because it doesn't remove the jagged edges. So, the thing is, the only way to circumvent this is to you go into your config.ini file, and you change your resolution from 1920 1080 to 3840 2160, which is 4K. Essentially, you upscale your game manually. It doesn't have to be 4K. Any resolution that works with the 16 by 9 aspect ratio works, like 3200, 1800, I think, or 2880 by 1620, and this completely gets rid of all the jagged edges. Let me show you what Storm 4, and by the way, this carried over to Storm Connections. Storm Connections does not have super sampling, and once again, the only thing you can do is go into your config.ini file and change the resolution manually to 4K. When you change the resolution to 4K, you'll notice that all of the jagged edges are completely gone. Now, let me show you what Storm 4 looks like on 1080p. Look at this, character select screen. And this is 4K. You can see all of these examples, like, not side by side, but like one after the other, you know? Basically, this is what Storm 3 and Storm Revolution had at launch without you having to upscale your game. But when you play Storm 4 and Connections on 1080p, you have insane jagged edges. It is insane. And the same thing is happening now with Demon Slayer. We'll talk later about why this could be the case. So this section is dedicated to the character model changes, or well, facial changes, proportion changes, and stuff like that, you know? So I want to preface this by saying that this is a matter of personal preference. I am not saying that this is a downgrade or an upgrade. I will give my subjective opinion, but I'm not going to say that this is factually worse. This is worse, because this isn't cut content. These are intentional changes. They are clearly intentional. And whether you prefer them to the first game or not, that's up to you. So let's start with Giyu. So this is Giyu using dead calm in the anime. This is Giyu using dead calm, it's the same shot, in Hinokami Chronicles 1 in his ultimate. I think they look identical, like almost identical. Like, I cannot complain. Okay, so that's Hinokami Chronicles 1. And now let's look at the same shot in Hinokami Chronicles 2. Obviously, they changed the face. Completely, they changed the character model. Not only the face, but even the Haori. Look at the coat that he's wearing. Like, the textures are a little weird. They're mismatched, in a way, if you know what I mean. Maybe that's just me. I'm not gonna nitpick here, but, yeah, I think that in the first game, it's a 1-to-1. To the anime. And I think that the point of these games is to be as true to the anime as possible. So I don't know why they would make him look like a baby. He looks so baby-faced here. I think I have a theory as to why this is. The Demon Slayer anime kind of changed their character designs during the Hashira training arc. They made them more... It's not very noticeable, so you'll probably think that I'm crazy, but they're more cartoony. They're more baby-faced, I think. So I believe that this is the reason why Giyu looks like this now. I think this is the main reason why they changed Giyu's expression. I prefer the first game here, but again, if you prefer the second game, totally. Why not? I mean, this is clearly intentional. You have every right to prefer this, and again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I personally prefer the first game because of how accurate it is to the anime. Okay, moving on. Shinobu. Okay, so this is Shinobu in the anime, and in the first game, I'm not going to say she looks perfect. I am not a fan of how she looks in the first game either, but this is what she looks like in the second game. Okay? And look, initially I thought, when I first saw this, like the first 4 seconds, I thought, oh, this is more detailed, like the hair and all. But now I'm like, bro, my friends also, like 3 of my friends were like, what the fuck is this? She looks like Mickey the Mouse. Her eyes are so big. And it's not even that. Look at the eyelashes in the anime. It's clear that in the first game it's replicated better. In the second game, her eyelashes are so big she looks like a Bratz doll. I don't understand the point of this. Again, if I had to guess, and the hair as well, you can see this like with the hair. I think that this has been done because the anime, like the style of the anime, Shinobu looks more cartoony in the later seasons, and you can see the same thing here. My biggest gripe here is that they removed this cheeky smile, this grin. Like, she opens her mouth in the first game. In the second game, though, she just has this soulless expression. She does not blink, she doesn't do anything, she just stares at you. You know how when you have these mods, like, and they don't know how to change the character's expression at all? That is exactly how I feel about this ultimate. They should, like, I don't think I have that big of a problem with the face, really. I think it's just that it looks like they forgot to animate the grin. It's expressionless. And before you say, well, Shinobu is meant to be expressionless, no, bro. Like, in the anime, she makes this grin. Like, bro, I think this is way better in the first game. The grin. As for the face, I'm not saying it looks better or worse in the first game. I'm just saying, this is a little weird to me. But, like I said, a personal preference. You have every right to think that the second one is better. And I'm not even saying that the first one is better. I genuinely think the first one also looks a little odd. But whatever. We're not nitpicking. Let's move on. Zenitsu. This is what Zenitsu looks like in the anime, this particular shot. This is what Zenitsu looks like in the first game. And I would say this is incredibly accurate for the most part, the expression at least. And this is the second game. You'll notice that they raised his eyebrows and they changed his eyes to make them, they're like more slanted or like wider. And he looks more mad here. He looks like the Avatar. Again, I am not going to say which is better because personally I don't know. But what I do know is that the first game, like this shot in the first game, definitely looks way more accurate to the anime. It looks truer to the anime compared to the second game, where, he just looks more mad. Again, I am not saying that this is better or worse. I am just, pointing out the differences. Like I said, this is all about personal preference. Moving on, Tanjiro. Okay, so Entertainment District Tanjiro, when he's done with his ultimate, you can see how he has a clear expression. He looks, like, to the left, or, well, to the right, basically. And it looks very expressive. In the second game, however, he has this look where he stares into nothing, right? And I will give them the benefit of the doubt here. I think that they did this because this is Berserk Tanjiro. He's supposed to go Berserk. And he's supposed to be like, like that. So I will say that this is probably intentional, that they meant to, have him look as crazy as possible. They want him to look out of control. So that's personally how I feel, but again, this is up to you completely. Okay, moving on. Akaza's eyes. This is one thing that I don't get, and I genuinely, like, Akaza is the thing that I genuinely don't know how you can see this and think that this is an improvement. Not this, but later shots. So this is Akaza in the first game. He's got those eye capillaries, right? Like he does in the anime. In the second game, however, he has way more of them. Way more. He has a cobweb around his eyes. Around his pupils. And, I don't know if he's been smoking weed. I don't know what's going on here. But they gave him so many of these capillaries. And it's like, okay, whatever. I can get behind that. Who gives a fuck, right? Legitimately, why would I care about this? But here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. Let's look at Akaza in the anime. This is what he looks like in the anime. Let's look at the first game. I would say this is pretty accurate, almost a 1-to-1. Now, I will say, even the eyebrows, everything is perfect here. And look at the eye capillaries. And the second game obviously has more of these, but that is not what I take issue with at all. I want you to look at something else. First of all, look at Akaza's eyelashes in the first game. Like, you can see how he has no eyelashes here, right? In the second game, he has more of them, and it's kind of like it looks broken. Like, look at this texture here. It almost looks broken. But that is also not what I take issue with. What I take issue with, and please tell me if you see this, is the basketball stripes on his face. So, when you look at the first game, it's very true to the anime. It's almost identical, right? But then look at this. Just pay attention to the stripes on his face. The middle stripe is much longer and thicker now, but it looks as though, look at how it's not a straight line. This looks like when I try to paint something in Microsoft Paint, when I try to make a straight line or draw a circle and I end up failing miserably, that is what this line looks like. This stripe on his nose, basically. Why is it so thick and why is it so, like, uncanny? And what? It's not... Okay, but that's not all. That's not all. Look at the stripes, these 3 stripes around his eyes. Namely the right eye. Or, well, it's his left eye, but we see it as... You know what I mean. So, look at this. Look at these stripes. Okay, so in the first game, they are perfectly aligned. It's like curves, right? It's perfect. But in the second game, what is this? What is this? What have they done? What have they done? Like, just pay attention to this. Like, don't pay attention to the eyelashes or the capillaries. Just how misaligned and how broken these lines are. They don't even connect to one another. Look at this. Look at the third line, the final line on the right side. It just goes somewhere else. It goes to the right. What is going on here? Why did... And this is one of those things where I'm like, why? Why did they do this? This is... Nobody asked you to do any of this. It looks objectively worse. Why? And it's not like this increases the performance. You can't convince me that's the case. So my friend, when he saw this, he said, bro, to me, this looks like AI. And my other friend was like, bro, honestly, what if they put this entire game, like, through AI, they ran it through AI, they, like, typed in a bunch of prompts, like, oh, well, make the game look different, and the AI did this. Because I genuinely fail to see how this could have been an intentional move. How could a human being look at these two side by side and say, yep, this one is better? Not to mention that I still don't understand the point of this, the purpose of this. Why? It just looks worse. I just don't understand, man. I don't understand at all. If you look at Water Tanjiro, his ultimate, look at the dragon in the first game. Looks pretty good, right? Now let's look at the dragon in the second game. Look at the teeth, look at the tongue, look at the eye, look at the outlines. Like, in this case, I feel like in this ultimate in particular, the dragon benefits from having thick outlines, like thick borders, but they removed it. Like, why? Even in the anime, the dragon has these things. And, you know, I just, like, I don't... For this in particular, you cannot convince me that removing these outlines and changing the dragon's eye and making it look more, like, less menacing and destroying his tongue and teeth and everything, you cannot tell me that this increases performance. Like, this had to have been intentional, right? The only other explanation would be that they had AI do this. Like, my friend suggested that, but I don't know how you can intentionally make this move. Like, how the fuck... The dragon looks so much better in the first game compared to the second game. What even is this? What even is this, man? So, that's about it regarding the character models of Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2. They have changed certain things. I'm not going to say if it's for the better or for the worse, but it's definitely different. And for some of these things, like Akaza, it is objectively worse. Like for Akaza, I cannot defend this guy, bro. What is this? However, this is not the first time that they've changed the faces. Basically, in Storm 1, my friend from Germany told me this. He was like, the faces used to be way better and way more detailed. And I was like, nah, you're tripping. But then I saw, and look at this. This is Storm 1, and this is Storm 4. Brother, if you think that Storm 4 looks better, you are actually insane. Actually insane. So this is only one shot that I could find, but I remember seeing multiple shots where Storm 1 just looks way more detailed. And in general, Storm 1 as a game had a lot more detail compared to Storm 4. I guess they sacrificed that for this, like, fast-paced experience. I really couldn't tell you. Alright, Chidori, actually. See, in Storm 1, you can actually see Sasuke's face. Like, you can see his curse mark and the eye and everything. But in Storm 4, and in, well, Storm Generations, actually, when they completely butchered the ultimates, yeah, well, they completely removed this. I want to finish this section of the video, just like every other section, by talking about Storm, and how Storm did something similar with the character model changes. So, the last Sasuke, I'm going to bring this up. I place a huge premium on good ultimates. I'm obsessed with them. And I think that Sasuke's, like the last Sasuke's Chidori Planet Splitter ultimate is one of the, no, it's the best ultimate I've ever seen, right? But there are a few things that I want to talk about here. So, in the beta for Storm 4, in one of the trailers, you can see the last Sasuke's face in this ultimate. And you'll notice that his face looks pretty serious and really good. But then when the final game came out, this was his face. And you can see how the bangs, like his hair, is clipping through his face. He doesn't have the reflection in his eye. No shine, no nothing. He looks so derpy compared to the beta. Why did they change this? This is criminal. I can understand thinking that this is more accurate to the anime, but bro, everything is better in the beta. But we never got this. We never got this. This was only in one trailer, and they changed the ultimate when the game came out. But that is not all I want to talk about. So, because I've rewatched Sasuke's, like the last Sasuke's ultimate so many times, like Chidori Planet Splitter, I noticed something that really pissed me off. So, again, in the beta for Naruto Storm 4 and all those early gameplay videos, I saw Sasuke's ultimate, and you can see how his collar is covering his mouth. Obviously, this is how it was intended, right? Like, the collar is covering it, and you can even see the animation. Like, the collar is animated. The air is actually making contact with it. You can see that they animated this. Effort went into this. But when Storm 4 came out, do you know what they did? Let me show you, actually, because this is really, really insane, and I will never be able to get over this. So, this is the beta. This is Storm 4. What exactly happens here? You might be thinking, oh, well, they uncovered his mouth. Big whoop. That's not all. Look at the collar itself, right? Look at it. Like, it's completely different. It's wide in a way. And you might be wondering, what is this brown thing around his mouth, like just underneath it? That is his cape, the poncho. Now, what did they do? What is happening? Why is this an issue? So, this is Sasuke in the beta. The cape is covering, the poncho is covering his arm. In the actual final version of the game, when it dropped, you can see how it's lifted like this. And it looks like cardboard. It looks solid. And this is exactly what's causing this issue. Because when you look closely at this shot, you're able to see that the fact that they raised his poncho, this cape, it makes it so that it clips through his mouth, right? But that's not all. Not only did they raise the cape and make it so like solid and make it so that it clips through his mouth, but even the collar itself, they look at what they did to it. They broke it. What is this? Even here, like, look at this. They literally broke his collar. Just, not only did they fuck up the cape by raising it and causing it to clip through his mouth, but they even fucked up the collar itself. Look, it's clipping through his hair in this shot. Like, look at this. What is going on? I will never get over this. Like, look at all these shots. Why? I don't understand, and I don't think I ever will. But they did this, and it pissed me off for like 3 years. That's how insane my OCD was. I actually got in contact with a few modders to ask them why they did this and if there was a way to fix it. It's actually insane. Oh, and another example. In the beta for Storm Generations, you can see Kage summon Sasuke's awakening animation, and it looks so cold. Look at how cool it looks. Well, they scrapped that, and the final version of the game, the full release, looked like this. In what world is this better? In what world is this better? Why? Why do they keep doing this? In 90% of these cases, it's always a downgrade. Why? I don't understand, man. It is killing me. I would say that all of this is irrefutable proof that this game has been graphically downgraded. And if you still think the second game looks better and that it hasn't been downgraded in any way after witnessing all of this, then you're actually fucking brain dead. I can't even defend you. I don't even know why I'm apologizing, because at this point you're just denying facts. If you say, well, this is a fighting game, why are you bitching about the graphics? Nobody cares, then congratulations, you played yourself. I said this a billion times throughout the video. This is not about how important or how noticeable this is. This is about the fact that it's present and that it is objectively worse. And I don't even know why I keep saying, I know this is unnoticeable, when I literally, like, all of my friends, every single one of them, they all notice this. They all notice these changes. 6 of them, no, actually 8 of them, as of me making this video, 8 of them, they all agreed with me. And they even told me how I'm downplaying the issue by saying it's not noticeable, because it's very much visible, especially on a large screen. Not to mention that 3 of these friends, they noticed these downgrades before I even said anything. Meaning that, no, I'm not the only one. It's just this circle jerk on Reddit and everywhere where people just don't, they gotta glaze their favorite game, their anime arena fighting game. Now, I get that this is a game where you have to move a lot. There's a lot of motion, you don't really have a lot of time to focus on what's happening in the background, but some people like to admire stages and level design, and I'm one of those people, and I get so incredibly bothered by these imperfections, especially when I know that something used to be good and now it isn't. And you cannot convince me that this game is an upgrade in any capacity. If Demon Slayer 1 looked like this, I wouldn't have any problem whatsoever. But this way I have a point of comparison. I know how much better the first game looked, and this is exactly why I'm so bothered by this. And I'm not saying that you should be upset or that you should be all up in arms about this. I'm just saying, acknowledge it, alright? The only reason I went on Reddit was because I was hoping that, I would find some insight, that somebody could provide some insight, but I couldn't find anything, and I gotta defend myself on this front as well, but because I couldn't find anything anywhere, I had to resort to using AI. Now, listen, I know that using AI, using ChatGPT, it's kind of stigmatized and frowned upon, but I literally couldn't find anything anywhere. And look, I know that AI is not the most reliable source of information, and it kind of tends to agree with everything that you say, but I did have some theories about why the game turned out this way, why the graphics got downgraded, why the game has such low fidelity, And funnily enough, ChatGPT said the exact same thing that all of my friends and I were thinking. So ChatGPT essentially said how, yeah, this whole, my suspicion that this has to do with 60 FPS across platforms, that this is a very solid assumption, that they most likely, opted for, performance over visuals, and over expensive FX. But then I was like, okay, but why ruin the graphics on PC as well? Because, when Cyberpunk came out, I remember, the PS4 version of the game had such horrible graphics that people were wondering why the game was even on the PS4 to begin with. And the PC got good graphics, basically, so why not do the same here? My friend actually said it's probably because this is cheaper, but I didn't understand, how is that cheaper? Just make the base game and then downgrade the graphics for these, old-gen consoles. But ChatGPT, without me having to say anything, actually said the same thing. So, essentially, when a game launches simultaneously across all these platforms, developers often build one unified asset pipeline rather than maintain separate effect sets for each platform. So maintaining multiple versions of textures, lighting, VFX logic means more dev time, more QA, which I guess is quality assurance, and more patch complexity. So CC Tool likely created one base visual target that runs on the PS4 and Switch, then scaled it up slightly for the PS5 and the PC. But that didn't restore all of the high-end effects from the first game. And honestly, I think that is exactly what they did. I believe that they made this game for the PS4 and for the Switch, and then they slightly upscaled it just a little bit for the PC. Because when you look at this game, that would also explain why Hinokami Chronicles 2 looks worse on max settings than the first game on the lowest settings. There is no grass, they're missing textures. This screams old-gen consoles. This screams Switch and PS4. And they basically made the game with those consoles in mind. They prioritized that, and then they basically upscaled that version, the base version, to PC, which is absolutely criminal. But then it's okay, but why not make it so that the PC version can have, multiple settings, so that when you, these can be low settings, but on higher settings you can actually have the old graphics back from the first game. But essentially what it says here is that if this is their internal logic, and if animations are tied to certain particle counts, motion blur layers, or lighting passes, differences across platforms can cause desyncs in online matches. Now, I don't know how... I don't think this game is, cross-platform. I don't think it has cross-play, so I don't see how this can be a problem. However, I know that there are desyncs in the game. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing more and more negative reviews on Steam, and most people are complaining that, online is unplayable. It crashes because it desyncs a lot. Usually when you use a grab, the game will just freeze up and, it won't work. So, I don't know if this is the same, but whatever. So moving from 30 to 60 FPS across all consoles means that even PC versions often inherit those same optimizations, because it's easier to quality assure one set of effects that works at 60 FPS everywhere. Even though the PC could handle higher fidelity, if the engine's effects budget was slashed for console performance, the PC port also suffers. Also, this has to do with cost cutting. So it's possible they had a strict deadline and they chose good enough everywhere over best possible per platform. So it's not unheard of for anime arena fighting games to treat PC as a PS4 Pro. Also, marketing over fidelity, this is what I said earlier, they know their audience, they know that nobody will even pay attention to this. I wouldn't be surprised if most players were, kids, but, yeah, most people don't notice this, and they probably knew that they could get away with this. It says here how when anime arena fighting games go from 30 to 60 FPS, they commonly trim alpha particles, reduce post-processing buffer sizes, and simplify lighting and effects timing so the visuals can remain consistent online across platforms. So I was like, okay, so still, why not keep these low settings on Switch? But again, it multiplies work. Separate effect sets, separate QA, potential online desyncs if effects influence timing and camera. It's cheaper and safer to lock one VFX budget that meets 60 FPS and ship it everywhere, than just scale the resolution, shadows, and textures per platform. Okay, but what about all of the ultimate dimming and blurring? Well, apparently, that's a post-processing filter, not a GPU-intensive particle system, so it has nothing to do with performance. They added this blur overlay right at the moment of impact, and one of the possible reasons is that they went for this cinematic look. They were sure that this would make the game look better and more cinematic, and how they were probably afraid that maybe, since the game is 60 FPS, all those effects and all that bloom, it wouldn't land well, and yeah, basically this was just a horrible decision all around. Like, you can read this here. Of course, take all this with a grain of salt. None of this is for, you know, for certain. And yeah, I was like, okay, so if Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 3 comes out, which we all know it will, can we expect the same stuff? And ChatGPT said that that is like the most likely scenario, because they build upon the previous version of the game, they use that as the base, and if they use Hinokami Chronicles 2 as the base for Hinokami Chronicles 3, we can expect the same exact graphics, especially if that game also comes out on the Switch and on the PS4, which we all know that it absolutely will, because they lose sales. You know, this is the thing. I'm like, okay, but why cling to these last-gen consoles so much? They even did this with Storm, with the PS3 and all. Yeah, well, it's because not a lot of people play on the PS5. You know that meme, like, one game? You know, the PS5 has no games? A lot of people still play only on the PS4. And by choosing not to release your game on the PS4, you potentially miss out on a lot of sales. So you lose sales, and you don't want that. So they go out of their way to prioritize these last-gen consoles to the point where they will literally butcher the game just so they could secure more sales. So this is really true. That is absolutely insane and unfair. So if all of this is true, that means that the PC version of the game is not even the PC version, it is the Switch version. This explains literally everything that I showed and discussed in this video. The stages, the lack of shadows, reflections, the lighting, vegetation, textures, every single thing was basically done so that this game could run at 60 FPS on these ancient-ass consoles. It was done to secure more sales so they could get more money, and it was also done so they could save money by not giving us normal graphics or a graphical upgrade, right? Not that there's anything to upgrade from the first game graphically, but this was done to save money, or it was done out of laziness, and it was done all in favor of these last-gen consoles. I believe now, after reading all of this, even though it's not 100% sure, I feel like this is definitely very likely, because my friends also had similar theories, and I myself had similar theories. But if this is true, that means that this game is unironically a scam. I'm not gonna lie, I know that most people don't care about visuals, and they knew that. That's why they're able to get away with it. But it's still kind of insane to charge $60 for a game that, let's be honest, in terms of content, bro, this game, like, the only thing kind of saving it, like the saving grace, is the story mode, which, I mean, you're not gonna play more than once, right? And it's not like it's incredibly breathtaking. It's good, it's great, but it's not like, wow. So the story mode is the only thing that saves this game. If you look at the content, wow, a few mechanical changes, like changing the commands for counters and heavies, giving us that switch mid-combo, and yeah, but basically that's mostly it, honestly, not gonna lie. So, yeah, and not even that many characters, like 11 playable characters, 2 of them being gag characters. Sure, we'll get DLC, but, you know, I feel like this game definitely does not warrant a $60 price tag, and like I said in my previous video, it's very ironic
and a little hypocritical how every Storm game is like, oh, this is a DLC for the previous Storm game. Storm 4 is a DLC for Storm Revolution. Storm Connections is a DLC for Storm 4. Bro, it's the same with this game. It is identical to the first game in terms of gameplay, almost. The only difference is that, well, the graphics are worse, right? So that's basically, it's just insane.
Now, this one guy on Reddit said how the input lag is way better in this game, so it's a fair trade. Now, okay, is it a fair trade? Sure. But I'm not talking about whether the compromise is fair or not, or whether the payoff is worthwhile. No, I'm saying that there should be no compromise at all. You shouldn't have to sacrifice visuals to improve input delay so that these old-ass consoles could run the game. Smoother gameplay shouldn't have to come at the expense of graphics. This is not normal, people. What the fuck are we even talking about? In an age where every game is getting remasters and remakes with better graphics, better visuals, better everything, these guys decide to make a game that looks way worse than its predecessor, and somehow everyone's okay with it, and if you point out that it's actually happening, they will kill you. This guy says how the game is way better optimized, how he couldn't even run the previous game. Brother, that is not optimization. Optimization implies having both visuals and performance. Like, both have to be peak. If you fucking kill your graphics, if you butcher your game visually, it goes without saying that it's gonna run better. I mean, just look at the system requirements for Hinokami Chronicles 2. It's almost the same as, you know, for Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1. My friend feels scammed, and I feel like he's well within his right to feel this way. With some franchises, people get mad that the game has stayed the same graphically. Like, I remember people got mad over Forza Horizon 5 not having mind-blowing graphics. Like, they were like, oh my god, this looks the same as Forza Horizon 4. This is unacceptable. And it's like, imagine how these people would feel if they got a game that looked, like, even worse. Especially if you're a PC gamer. Like, imagine paying a lot of money for a PC so that you could run everything on max settings, because, you know, PC is the platform where you get the best graphics. And then you pay $60 for this game, and you get the same graphics as, you know, Switch players. To me, that feels like a scam, especially if what ChatGPT and what my friend said, especially if that was true. Like, if this turns out to be the case, which we have no way of confirming in any way, but if they really did this to cut costs, and, you know, they just did this so that, oh, well, it's more financially viable, then that is a literal scam. That is the definition of a scam. Now, on my Reddit post, you can see how everyone was saying how, you know, oh, you're making mountains out of molehills, and, you know, how I was grasping at straws, how I was nitpicking, how nobody actually cares, and how the game actually looks way better now. It's actually an upgrade, but, you know, I'm just not used to it. I can't adapt. Bro, this literally makes me, like, borderline homicidal, bro. Like, I cannot delineate how much I despise this argument. Like, it's not bad, it's just different, and you can't accept it. Now, I don't know if this is a cope, if people are just actually this delusional and this brain dead, because I've witnessed this a lot throughout my life and in so many different aspects. You know, people will bash somebody who is clearly better than them, and a lot of people will tell me, nah, you know, they're just coping. But you know what, I actually don't think that way. I think these people are genuinely that stupid and that oblivious that they genuinely believe that the game looks better now. Like, imagine if, I don't know, like, you fail an exam, you completely, like, it's a flop, and you, like, your teacher gives you an F, and you tell them, bro, but my answer wasn't wrong, it was just different. That is what these people are doing. This happens with animation, with Storm playstyles, with everything. Like, people don't know what good animation is. I've seen so many cases where people will call something bad animation, and you have people who actually understand how animation works, and they try to explain everything, but these guys are like, no, I'm right, and you're wrong. That's like, I've seen this more times times than I can count. This also happens with art. This happens with everything. You got people who don't even know what good gameplay looks like in games like DMC, for example. Like, they can't distinguish good gameplay from bad gameplay. And you can just do anything and people will glaze you and say, oh my god, you got 50,000 fingers. Like, I myself have gotten comments on my videos going, why didn't you end your combo with an ultimate attack? Like, bro, not every combo needs to end with an ultimate attack. Like, Jesus Christ. And I've noticed this a lot. If you, like, point out that something is bad or boring or not up to par with something you're saying, you know, people will immediately, they will just get their pitchforks out, and I don't understand why this is happening. People are glazing corporations like Apple, Sony. People are just willing to die for their favorite video games or favorite series. Like, you know, I love DMC, but if there was a new let's say a new DLC came out for DMC 5 and it completely ruined the graphics, and somebody on Reddit made a post pointing it out, I would be like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay, cool, and a nice, good observation. I would never, even think about, insulting this guy because he dared to make a remark. Something similar happened to my friend who played Baldur's Gate 3, and he heard about all the hype, he saw the hype, and he played the game, and he was like, it's not bad, but I'm not seeing, I can't see what's so incredibly breathtaking about it. And he played every other Baldur's Gate, and every single person on Reddit just lynched him, basically, for daring to say that. How he was baiting, engagement baiting, and all that, and it's like, no, he just wanted to know what was so good about this game. It was the same with a bunch of other stuff. Like, one of my friends, he was like, okay, I watched Freerun, and I found it just painstakingly boring, and everybody's like, oh, you're just stupid, you're just a shonen fan, you probably only love, fights and fight scenes, and he's like, no, I actually watched, No Kurosawa's Monster, I like slow burn shows and books and stories, and they were like, no, I don't know, this is objectively perfect. I don't know how you could be bored, you just have bad taste. And this happens so much that it's insane. You're not allowed. And the thing is, these aren't even instances of people hating on something. It's just actual curiosity. Like, have you guys noticed this? Do you guys feel this way? Am I the only one? And everybody's like, yep, you're the only one. Well, fuck you. Just stop hating, bro. Stop hating. This happens everywhere. Like, one of the people that I talked to was Byanyo Nakuma. He's one of the best Virgil players on the planet. And there's another player, one DMC player, who really sucks at the game. Like, he is so terribly bad. But he makes clickbait titles like, only 0.001% of people can do this. This is my power. What 6,000 hours of Virgil looks like. And his playstyle is like, most people can play Virgil better with under 20 hours of playtime. I'm not even joking. But every single person sees his videos and they're like, you're the best, you're a god, this is peak DMC gameplay. So Byanyo Nakuma, who was this professional Virgil player, he pointed out, hey, maybe you could improve here, this isn't actually professional gameplay. Everybody wanted to lynch him, because these people who play DMC, they don't know any better. Most people who play DMC, for example, are casuals who don't even know how basic moves work. They can see the most basic thing, just spamming the same move over and over again, and they will think that that requires skill, and that's the pinnacle of gameplay. And these players who encourage that, who post these clickbait titles, and make a name for themselves even though they suck ass, they basically harm the game's reputation, makes it seem as though the pinnacle of the game is not as complex as it actually is. I feel like all of this ties into a much bigger issue of consumerism and blind consumption of, products, like simping for companies, simping for IPs. You're no longer allowed to have an opinion on anything. You're immediately going to be branded as a hater, as, this bitter guy who hates everything. And believe me, you saw my post. I tried my absolute best to phrase this in the most subtle, polite, and implicit way imaginable, and people still found a way to feel offended, just because I dare to point something out. that something wasn't as good as they thought it was. Even though I prefaced it 5 billion times, but nobody's gonna care, this is just, something I noticed, everybody's like, no, you're wrong, no one agrees with you, stop bitching, fuck you, die. Like, Reddit is just this disgusting ass echo chamber where everyone shares the same brain cell, the same opinion, everything, and if you disagree with them, you get lynched. And by the way, I'm so tired of having to apologize, especially in advance, for every single thing that I say so fucking Redditors and idiots don't get offended. I shouldn't even have to apologize for having an opinion, because people are gonna find a way to feel offended anyway. Again, I'm aware that this is completely immaterial in the grand scheme of things, and I realize that you will not find this incredibly important, but I would highly appreciate it if you could at least acknowledge that it's present and that it's worse, and that it is not okay for a sequel to look worse than the previous game that came out 4 years prior. As for the model changes and faces, that, for the most part, is a matter of personal preference, and I'm not going to say that it's a graphical downgrade. However, if you comment something like, bro, who cares, just play the game, you guys just complain, this isn't important, I swear to God, I never do this, but if you write that, I am immediately deleting your comment. I never do this because I like engagement, I value my viewers' opinions, but I want a productive conversation. I welcome all forms of criticism, like I'm open to all of it, but I'm also not going to stand here and listen to your bias. I want to have a productive convo with someone. I want to hear your theories as to why CC2 decided to downgrade the graphics. Maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe it's not because of the last gen consoles. Maybe it's not because of the input lag in 60 FPS. Maybe it was a glitch, though I highly doubt it. Now, like I said, I just want to have a productive convo with someone on this, obscure topic. But if you write something like, who cares, just play the game, I'm deleting your shit without a second thought, because you're not contributing to this convo in any way. At that point, it's not even constructive criticism. You're not criticizing my points. You're just criticizing the premise of the video, like the existence of the video, and the fact that I'm bothered by the truth. But you're not actually providing valid counter-arguments because you can't. Because this is objectively worse, and if you say otherwise, you are in denial. In conclusion, Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 2 has undeniably experienced a downgrade in the visual department. On the maximum possible settings, the game looks significantly worse than Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles 1 on the lowest possible settings. The stages and colors look washed out, vegetation is either completely removed or replaced with low-resolution textures, the ground is blurry, textures are sometimes missing, entire houses, trees, and objects have been removed, lighting and light reflections have been removed on most stages. Things like sun rays, moonbeams, those environmental effects are completely gone. The anti-aliasing is noticeably worse in the first game, and even some of the most basic effects are either gone or simply toned down, like the cobwebs in Rui's ultimate, the glare on Tanjiro's flames, the lightning in Zenitsu's skill, which is just completely gone now. The lightning is just, it doesn't exist anymore. Akaza's disorder technique having way fewer punches, where it's beyond visible when you put them side by side, especially if you want to use like a still image, you'll be able to see that there aren't as many effects. Certain character models have also experienced some changes where now they look less accurate to the anime, though you could argue that this is intentional because the anime kind of changed its art style in the later seasons, so it's not the same as it used to be in Season 1, but some of these changes almost look like they were made by AI. Ultimates are now dimmed and blurred in a lot of cases where impact frames are just darkened, so this decreases the impact. Zenitsu's ultimate, Rengoku's ultimate, you can see that they are way less crisp now, and it just doesn't pack a punch. My personal theory, which my friends and ChatGPT also seem to agree with, is that this game has suffered so much visually because it released on the PS4 and the Switch at 60 FPS. The previous game ran at 30 FPS, but this game runs at 60 FPS across all platforms. I suspect that this has been achieved by downgrading the game visually, so that the game could run at 60 FPS on these ancient consoles. So, performance at the expense of graphics. And obviously, the PS4 is still one of the most gamed-on platforms, so to choose not to release the game on this old console could potentially mean losing a lot of sales, because not everybody plays on the PS5. Another reason could be the Switch. Both the Switch and the PS4 are very old consoles. They're very limited in terms of hardware. And it seems that the game has been downgraded for PC as well, because they used the Switch and PS4 version as the base, and then they simply upscaled that version for PC and the PS5. This would explain why the game looks worse on max settings than the first game on the lowest possible settings. This would also explain why so many textures and so many blades of grass and so many things are just flat out missing, and why there's no option to bring it back by setting the graphics to max settings. This was apparently done to cut costs, because releasing different versions of the game with better visuals, it means more dev time, more resources, more money. So this was done to save resources, to cut costs, and that is the most plausible theory here. Now, regardless of how relevant and how important this is, I believe that it's not okay at all for a sequel to look worse than its predecessor that came out 4 years prior, especially in an age where every game gets remakes and remasters with better graphics, better visuals, higher fidelity. This is just, in my opinion, unacceptable. I realize that this is a fighting game, and most people either won't notice this or simply won't be bothered by it, but for somebody who has OCD and appreciates stage and, level design and backgrounds, this can be a problem. And I believe that this is just not fair. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really want to hear what you got to say in the comments below. I just hope you're able to contribute to this convo in a meaningful way. So, yeah, see ya, peace out, and have an amazing day.